So, Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left that's right. It's not just a slogan. It's not just me trying to be braggadocious. It's because I tend to know what I'm talking about on these things, and I try to be well informed, and I try to, when I make statements, I don't just talk out of my butt. I don't just say things just to say them. I say things because I believe them to be true. And when I'm wrong, I'll admit that I'm wrong. But when I'm right, I sure as hell will say that I'm right. And when it came to Joe Biden and how he's handling Israel, I was absolutely 100% right. Remember when I made the video? Remember on the podcast when I was talking about Joe Biden and I brought up the fact that, way back when you had the rail strike and Joe Biden put an end to the rail strike early by signing the legislation that terminated the strike, even though they didn't get the sick pay that they wanted, the sick leave that they wanted. But Biden then worked behind the scenes to make sure that the rail workers would end up getting the sick leave anyway. But he didn't do it in public. He didn't do it like Donald Trump would have done it. And, well, Donald Trump wouldn't have fought for the sick leave for the workers. So let's just remember that. But Biden worked behind the scenes to get that done for the rail workers. So everybody was chiding and berating Biden for being anti-union, for forcing the union people to get back to work even though they didn't get what they wanted. But in reality, he was working behind the scenes to get them what they wanted, what they were asking for. And he did the work for them and got it done for them. And he's also, I think, the first president to go stand on a picket line. So Biden was pro-union and has always been pro-union. And he stood up for the working person. He understood that as president, he needed to get the supply chain going because we needed the supply chain going. But he understood that he had the power as president to work behind the scenes and get the job done. And he got the job done as president. So with Israel, everyone was giving him grief about him not being loud and vociferous and yelling at Netanyahu and being like Trump and saying, you need to do this, that, and the other. Not being like Khrushchev and banging his shoe on the podium or whatever, and not, being generally a child like Donald Trump would be. And when I made some videos, I had some people commenting on the videos. They were like, yeah, we want him to be more vociferous about it. And I'm like, well, he's not a child like Donald Trump. He is more diplomatic than Donald Trump is. And he's going to handle these things more privately because he's more of a diplomat. And what happened? We got a temporary 4-day truce. And now hostages are being released. And now after this 4-day truce was over, what happened? They extended the truce. I didn't expect the truce to get extended. I expected Netanyahu to be like, okay, truce over, let's go start bombing more people. But the Biden administration was like, nope, let's get this truce extended so we can get more hostages released. And what happened? They got the truce extended and more hostages are being released. So guess what? I was right about Biden because I said the Biden administration was working behind the scenes to get a truce going, to get some sort of ceasefire going, to get hostages released. That he was going to be working behind the scenes to work to make things better. And is it perfect? No. But don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And it's a start. And he's going to continue to work behind the scenes and get accomplishments done with this issue and with other issues. Does this mean that Israel is now going to behave? No, not. I don't trust Netanyahu further than I can throw him. But when it came to what Benjamin Netanyahu, when it came to what Joe Biden did and how he handled Benjamin Netanyahu, as Mona Lisa Vito said, I was dead on balls accurate. I called my shot. I said, look, knowing from what I know of Joe Biden, from what my grandparents said about him as the type of person that he is, from them working on his campaign way back in the day, from knowing how he just handles politics, from me following his career, from all of the stuff that I've done, just educating myself about the type of person that he is, I knew that he would be working behind the scenes and he would be having his people working behind it. And it wasn't just his people. It wasn't just his Secretary of State. It wasn't just his people going behind the scenes. He was making calls directly to other heads of state to get things going, to get those wheels greased, to get everything moving when it was needed to. He got things done. Would Trump do that? Absolutely freaking not. Trump would have sat back and cheered on Netanyahu as he cluster bombed white phosphorus and completely just razed the entirety of Gaza. And he would have cheered Netanyahu for doing so. So for anybody sitting there back there trying to say that, oh, things wouldn't be any different under Trump when it came to the whole Israel-Palestinian Hamas issue, no. Donald Trump would have absolutely sat back and been like, bomb the hell out of them. I would just bomb the hell out of them, and I applaud Netanyahu for having no mercy against all of the Palestinians. I guarantee you that's how he would be. Joe Biden worked behind the scenes as a diplomat and got what we've seen over the last 4 or 5 days now done. That's one of the many reasons why I'll continue to support Joe Biden. And there'll be many more that I'll be talking about over the weeks, months to come. But as I said, I called my shot. I flat out said, Joe Biden is doing this. This is why he's doing it. He's acting like an adult. He's acting like a diplomat. This is how he leads. This is what leadership is. This is what leadership looks like. He's gotten hostages released. Though I truly believe that with Donald Trump as president, you would have not seen those hostages released. You needed somebody like Joe Biden in there to do exactly what he did to get those hostages released. And more hostages will continue to get released. Now, do I think we'll get all of them? I don't know. I don't know what reason Hamas would have to release every single one, because then they have no leverage at that point. So we'll see how Biden handles the entirety of the situation. But when it came to my beliefs on how Biden was going to be handling it, and everybody criticizing Biden for how he was handling it, and when I said, look, he's working behind the scenes, I was right. And I'm going to take full credit for being right on this one. Which is another reason why you should watch more Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left. That's right. Because when I say stuff, I'm not saying it just to feel good. I'm not saying it just because I'm doing it to be rah-rah about somebody. Because I'll criticize people. I've criticized Biden before. I've criticized Democrats before. I've criticized anybody who I feel is doing wrong. But if I'm going to make a prediction about things, I make a prediction, and a lot of times I'll be right. Unfortunately, a lot of times I have been right. Like when I predicted that Donald Trump was going to get to name 3 Supreme Court justices, and, everyone called me crazy. And, well, it happened. And
it is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. So anyway, I'm just, doubling down on the fact that when I'm right, I'm right. So, watch Liberal Dan Radio, the best podcast that most people aren't watching.